they opened up a little small track in Danville called the Dixie Speedway, and they wanted to get some black drivers, and they thought they didn't know who to approach, so they went to the police department to find out what black guys had speeding records and things like that. So they told them they want somebody to drive a race car to see me. So that's how I started racing.
As Matt told us earlier, trying to become the first African-American driver since Willie T. Ribbs and join Randy Bethea and the great Wendell Scott.
He did he drove the car exactly what the car wanted him to do. He got out early. It looked like a little tight, but he kept in the throttle and he got a good lap. And wow, way to go!
There you go.
That's it.
That man, Tony Schumacher, wins. He is the champion for an 8th time. But Antron Brown, if Tony Schumacher loses, becomes the first African-American to win an NHRA title. 376, Antron Brown is the top fuel champion.
These need to be the best 7 laps of Darrell Wallace Jr.'s life.
That was a good first part of it right there.
Turn number 4, Darrell Wallace Jr. is going to get his first win in the Camping World Truck Series. His final time through 3 and 4. He's going to do it. Bubba Wallace wins at Kansas.
Ready. What they gonna say now, baby? Let's go!
Record is equals. Lewis Hamilton wins the Turkish Grand Prix and is a 7-time champion of the world.
Get in there, Lewis. What a way to do it, mate. What a way to win your 7th world title.
Do tell.
Well,
elaborate.
okay, yeah. So like, because I've been writing stuff. I was gonna go do some time, and then as I described in the group chat, that got squashed out. But like, I've been workshopping this bit for like a couple months. This joke where it's like, what if like normal people like gave like post-work interviews like NASCAR drivers? Like, what if it was like a brain surgeon that came out like an 18-hour surgery, and like. And he was like, I didn't really look good at the start there. Typically, like I said, a triple gunshot wound, we don't really come back from that. And, like I said, thankfully there, we just got it there at the end. And, he came out alive. That guy's going to be a vegetable, but at least he's alive, and just got to thank all our, just got to thank all our partners at Blue Cross Blue Shield, Baptist Health Systems. It's been a rough couple months with the malpractice suit and everything. We've been really thinking about all that. And, like I said, we just dug deep and just kind of kept it consistent, like I said, and kept our hands clean. And at the end, we came out on top. So just excited for the next one, and we'll see what happens. Like, what if like everybody that had a job did that?
Are you Brandon Jones right now as a doctor?
That's so good.
Yeah.
I'm crying.
Yeah.
Brandon, is that you?
I don't know. I don't get the Brandon Jones joke. What does that mean?
Well, I felt like you didn't miss any of your sponsors. You went right down the race and you didn't miss a beat.
No. That I was trying to think of like what are brand names that I can name, and I was like, well, doctor. I was like, you got medical insurance, you got a hospital. I don't know, but yeah. So I was gonna do that in front of regular people. Because because like my lead into that joke, my lead into any NASCAR joke ever that I've ever told for like the last almost 10 years has been like, people, I can say it's because I'm half white. White people never believe that I'm mixed, and so they're like, it's like I'm keeping a secret from them. Like it's a secret recipe. Like, come on, like really? What did you put in the brownies? Nutmeg? You're like, what are you really? Black mixed with white, like is your grandma half white? And then then I pull out like, well, I can name like the last like 15 Daytona 500 winners, and they're like, oh, okay, you want to go play squash this weekend? So,
they just take it just all the way.
Yeah, just take it.
Damn.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And then yeah. So
is that what they do in their free time?
I don't know. I don't
Pickleball.
Squash.
It's pickleball.
Yeah, pickleball. That's what it is.
You got to get up to date. Yeah, pickleball.
Yeah, pickleball.
new
Yeah,
hotness.
squash. Yeah. It is. Anyway, they have a pickleball court like near my house, and like they are like
Does it
just
keep you up at night? Do they have
Well,
lights?
no, it's not that close to my house. It's the park I take my dog to, and then like I go over there, and like there are people just waiting around, and then there's like even Facebook drama about it. People like post on Facebook. They'll be like, we signed up for the 6:15, and we got down there, and people were in the pickleball court, and me and Braxton were so heartbroken. We should all respect each other. And I'm just like, dog, what?
It's
and
real.
it's like it has taken the place of cornholing, which I'm so glad, because I just don't like calling it. I don't like calling anything cornholing. That's insane. That's an insane name. 10 years ago, I go to my first. 11 years ago, I go to my first race, the Coke 600, and then we're hanging out, and this white guy's asking, "Do I want to play cornhole?" I almost punched him in the mouth. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Oh my god.
And I can say these things. I'm half white, and I really am. Because remember the other day, like I recorded the other day, and like Arthur was like, or Jamal, I'm not Jamal. Whoops. Jared was Jared was like, bro, this is somebody's first time listening. And it would be funny if somebody's first time listening. And they're like, man, they're racist. They're making fun of white people on this show. Like, no. I get to do this. This is all that I do. Yeah. I'm good.
For everyone listening, that is the voice of Carl. That is not the voice of Jarrett. That's not the voice of Arthur. That's not the voice of Peyton.
I own up to it.
I was gonna say, Peyton, you might as well just shout out your employer and let them know it's not you at this point. You're like, that ain't me.
A resident mulatto.
What? Well, I mean, that's their word.
Yeah, but
Carl can use that.
Anyway, man. So. But yeah, I thought I would show up purely because at some point we're going to talk about the fact that they had to drive from Detroit to Laredo, Texas last night, and I was like, I could talk about that.
Yeah, this is your time to shine, man.
Yeah.
At any point,
what highway is that? 60?
Well,
no, it ends in a 5.
Well, I mean, I don't know which way they would have went. My assumption is that they probably would have taken. Hell, I don't know. I mean, I guess
the ones that go. What is it? The ones that go north and south, and then a 5, and the one that go east west, and then a 0.
Well, it's north and south ends in an odd number. East and west ends in an even number. And then here's a lesson for everybody. So, like, whatever the number is, like if it's an east to west highway, the number correlates to what landmass of the United States is south of it. So I-40, 40% of the United States is south of I-40. All right. If it's an even number, it runs north. It runs north, south, north to south, south, north, and the number correlates to the percentage of U.S. landmass that is east of it. So, for example, west of it. So, for example, I-95, 95% of the U.S. is west of I-95, but only 5% of the U.S. is west of I-5 in California.
Bars.
So,
That makes sense with I-40 running sort of through the heartland, and then the Iowa I-80 being sort of more northern bound.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
See, this is stuff I can take to the office.
Yeah. You can exactly. Yeah.
Peyton's water cooler just got much more excited.
I'm just building credibility. That's all I'm doing, man.
Yeah.
Talking shop.
Lord have mercy.
I thought you were saying I'm just stacking pennies. That's what I swear.
Yeah,
I thought
dude. Okay, so one last thing about when we can start. So I had to go and join the NASCAR Discord today, for obvious reasons, you know. And when that wasn't obvious reasons, I had to go join because I had the NASCAR 25 thing. And it was fine, except like it asks you what are you into, right? Because with Discord, they will give you like flares and stuff, so other people know like maybe you guys have common interests or whatever. And so I was going through. I'm never going to come back to this thing after Thursday. I don't want to be in here with these nerds. But I'm going through and I'm choosing it, and then it's like one of the categories is like it's like the question is like, what do you like to do with NASCAR? And it's like, are you an off-season guy? Are you a history buff? Do you listen to podcasts? And I was like, yeah, I'm a history buff, and yeah, I listen to podcasts. And then so I finish all that, and I look at my name, and the very first like little descriptor it gives me is penny stacker, and I was like, "Oh, you son of a bitch!" I thought that show got foreclosed on, man. I figured they was done with that. I guess not.
I'm not speaking on that.
We're just gonna leave that alone.
Well, no, I can talk about it all day because I'm gonna talk about you ask about the truck race anyway.
Well, let's get started then. Welcome to another episode of Victory Lane Vibes. We are your hostesses with the mostesses. It's Jared, it's Art, it's Carl, it's Peyton. We're back after Michigan, and as Art just so eloquently put it, let's talk shop.
That's Peyton's line.
What?
You had one job.
I'm sorry. Short weekend. There was just some trucks, or not so much after a certain point in the race. Then the Cup Series. I guess can I ask a question? Who on God's green earth thought it would be wise for the trucks to practice at 8:00 in the damn morning on a Saturday?
That's awesome.
Right. Yeah, I gotta join Peyton on that. I love it. I love it. I like get it out of the way.
Do you know what we used to do at 8 a.m. on Saturdays as children? We had cartoons. What do you mean? I got to watch Power Rangers.
You're a grown man. Get your butt up, cook some breakfast, watch some racing.
And precisely. When we used to have 16 practice sessions a weekend, it was nice that you get up on a Saturday and they practice at like 8:00 in the morning. You can go about your day for about 3 or 4 hours. There was none of this like, let me scramble home to watch 7 laps of practice and then the race field of cautions. You had a little bit of a break, and it was nice. So I can appreciate an early morning practice. I think that's fantastic.
Fuck that.
Whatever.
Hell no.
Hey, he missed me with all
Hell no.
Hey, you a Saturday morning guy? Do you get up on Saturday morning and go do stuff?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, hang on. You're not going to sit there and act like we're laying in bed till 2 p.m. just
I'm
because
not laying in bed.
I
reserve that time.
Well, you implied it, and I'm telling you now, like I'm up and at 'em, but I'm not trying to watch racing at 8 a.m.
Man, there is nothing I love more than beating my alarm up on a Saturday because it's just like there's so much time for activities.
Shut the fuck up.
I mean, I'm just
shut that down.
No.
Shut all of that
down. You yapping now, bro.
But you know what though? What's crazy is I wake up at 8 a.m. to watch practice, but I'm not gonna wake up at 2 a.m. to watch an F1 race.
That's fair. Because who should?
No.
See, that's for me. See, that's for me where it was easy because like 8 a.m. That's F1 time. So unfortunately, I was out doing the trail. I was doing the trail race that morning.
I'm not watching the damn trucks in the morning.
Also, it's not even a truck race. We're talking about truck practice.
Yeah. Why are you complaining?
You can't even watch practice on regular TV anyway. It doesn't even matter.
That solves the problem. If it can't be televised, then don't have it on.
It was on FS2.
Yeah.
So qualifying was on FS2.
Regular television paid. If I got to pay more for it in my cable package to get the channel, it ain't regular.
Well, that poses another question.
The Cup Series on Amazon.
What was Fox broadcasting across their 3 networks at 8:00 in the morning where they couldn't show truck practice?
Hold on.
It was probably infomercials for like a rotisserie chicken.
Hold on. You won't need to get it accurate. Okay. You all need to get it accurate because you are being inaccurate now.
It was
at 4 p.m. on Friday, there was truck series practice. That was not broadcast on any Fox platform.
Why?
On Saturday morning at 8 a.m., there was truck qualifying. That was on Fox Sports.
Oh, yeah.
So why couldn't it? If it's Friday after, does Colin Hurd have that much pull that they black out practice?
He doesn't even have.
He ain't even up that early.
I'm guessing horse racing was on.
Dude, it was something stupid. Fox is so dumb. FS1 and FS2 is dumb. You know what? Put the whole truck series on Prime next year. Problem solved.
Here's the
thing.
Put
the whole company on Prime. Never mind.
Look,
truck series.
I'm fine with that too, but I'm just saying.
Hey, I bet you the horse racing on Fox Sports 2 probably got a better number than truck practice.
Oh God.
Let's be honest.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's because it has no production value. Nothing on Fox related to stock car racing has production value.
Well,
I don't want to get into this, but like I got into it with a coworker like a week ago, because they hit me with the classic line. They're like, "Yeah, I'm not even watching that race no more because they didn't put it on Prime and blah blah." And I'm like, and my thing is, I'm like, dude, Fox ended the second biggest race of the year last year early because they didn't want to wait. They didn't want to outwait 30 minutes of rain. Fuck them for life. I don't care.
Well, listen. Once Stellantis gets their hands on the truck series and they get them Rams in there, they're going to grow that fan base from 20 million to what, 6 billion? Or I can't remember the figure.
They said they wanted 5x growth.
Yeah,
let's go.
So don't worry, it's going to be broadcast. It's going to be broadcast like on like every channel.
This is starting to sound like the herd with Colin a little bit because we're all so rowdy, but. Let's start off talking about trucks with that announcement. First of all, the worst kept secret since
the literal worst kept secret in the history.
Since they announced Josh Berry going to the 4 a couple years ago.
Yeah,
it's a terribly kept secret that they leaked like the week after Daytona. Moreover, just a bit of a backdrop, like in my formative NASCAR fan years when Dodge came back, I latched on heavily to that brand. There was something about the Ram and to this day I don't remember what the cut body was, because wasn't the cut body, Peyton, you might know this and Jarrett might know it too, maybe wasn't the cut but it was like a Himalayan, but they had a cut body that was like not really a production car. They just called it the RT for like 2 years, didn't they?
Yeah,
no, it was a Charger.
Yeah.
Well, so on their return,
it was before the Charger.
So
and they had
Intrepid.
So there was a transition period where, it was unlabeled when they were transitioning from
like Chevrolet's doing now for the Cup car.
Yeah, it was like 04. They just had the RT, so it was the Intrepid, the RT, and then the Charger. But it was something about the branding, the way the cars looked, the teams that were involved, the names. I was like, bro, I love this manufacturer. My first car was a Ram pickup because of my love for them in NASCAR, and they sucked. They sucked in. But this launch is so insanely sloppy, and it screams like they were just throwing darts at a wall trying to figure out like a PR win for them. And they were like, okay, we brought the Hemi back. I guess we can go to NASCAR and we can kind of somewhat advertise like, hey, y'all, we brought the Hemi back and went to NASCAR. Ignoring the entire fact that the only difference in the truck series are bodies, and that's it. They all run the same spec motor. And then they don't have any team signed or secured, which to me is an insanely risky move on their part. Besides, I guess that there's heavy rumors that Cletus McFarland might do it, which that's not even his real name. I didn't know that till today. I just sometimes the stars line up, and sometimes God gives the right rednecks money. And I thought there was a guy legitimately named Cletus McFarland that had done all this stuff. That's not his name, whatever. Which that's anyway. But they don't have any teams that are lined up for next year. They're hoping to attract some. And then they said they wanted to grow the fan base 8 times. I'm sorry. There's not even that many people that have a Ram finance in this country. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, man? Like, I'm just like, oh my God. Like the truck, the truck body looks great. I'm so excited for it to eventually to get into iRacing. So I can paint it. That'll be it. But like the whole thing, I was just really agitated. People were like, yeah, Dodge is coming back. And I'm like, these are all the things I would do. This is the equivalent of like bringing a bag of chips to a party, to a potluck. It's like you did the bare minimum. I don't know, man. I felt really weird about it. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they like land like some top talent. We were talking about suggested teams that could go there. I hope they get some, but I don't know, man. To me, this doesn't look like a building block for them to eventually go into Cup. It looks like they're experimenting, and they're probably gonna get their ass handed to them when they show up at Daytona with 2 trucks. But I don't know.
I mean, we can just have this thing. I feel like I'm sort of the opposite. If you're bold enough to tell everybody that you're coming back 2 weeks before you unveil your truck, and you're so confident in your program that you don't need to have a team sign, that just the aura of it all, people are going to switch to you as a manufacturer. That's tough, bro. Like, that's tough. Like, that's tough. Like, is American hard-headedness at its finest. Yeah, sure. I don't have anybody that's going to race the damn thing, but look, we made it. It looks fire, and the people will come, and I think they will. I just think
I just think the Truck Series now is at this really weird moment where it's just like it's just the have and the have-nots as far as manufacturers go, right? As far as like who's aligned with Chevy, who's aligned with Toyota, with Tricon, and Ford doesn't exactly have a well, I guess front row, I guess, is the Ford team now.
And George Sport.
Well, but do they really? I guess so. Yeah, I guess Ben Rhodes runs good. I don't know, but I am cautiously optimistic about it. I want this to work. I want this to be a success. I want to eventually have the Charger or the new Challenger in the Xfinity Cup Series. I think they would look great. But I just want this to go well for them, and I don't know. I'm not 100% confident. I want to be proven wrong. It's like I told Art today I'd buy his lunch. I'm not going to buy Stellantis lunch, although they could probably use it. But I would gladly say, hey, I was wrong. Stellantis is broke, y'all. If y'all didn't know that, I don't. Some people may not pay attention to that stuff, but I hope I'm wrong. So that's the end of the point.
I'll just add this tidbit before I leave it to Carl and not Carl, to Art and Peyton for their 2 cents. Brad Keselowski was interviewed, and he asked what his thoughts were on Dodge coming back because Brad, when he was with Penske, was the last driver to win a Cup championship for Dodge. And Brad says, yeah, he'd love to not only have a truck team again one day, he'd also love to have some Xfinity cars. There's some things that on the vision board that has to get knocked out first, but he would love to have a race team in each 3 National Series that NASCAR runs. Does RFK switch to Dodge?
Well, I mean,
no.
I look, I could see it. I could see it. I think the torch has been passed. There is no. I guess. Well, let me walk this back a little bit because they would have to give up the Roush part of the Roush Yates engine program, and they do make money off of that. So I don't think so. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell because obviously Penske is like the Ford front runner. It used to be that Roush was like Mr. Ford and RFK and all that stuff. But I do want to also point out, Jarrett, when people talk about like Dodge and NASCAR, you think about the Petties, but the Keselowskis were pretty loyal to Chrysler for a long period of time. So I'm sure that there also is a bit of reminiscence in that too for him. So I think but I don't. I think that the bag is too big for them to leave Ford. And I think there's too many intricacies involved. But I would love to see them go back truck racing. I mean, that's that was a family business for a long time. He got that team from his dad, him and his brother, and all that stuff. And I'd love to see that, but I don't think they're going to go back to Dodge. I'm sorry, Peyton.
Peyton, what's your thoughts on Ram coming back to the Truck Series?
Yeah, no, I'll be brief because I also want to make sure Art gets his in on this. I think this is great for the sport to at least know that there's interest in adding manufacturers back. I know we make a lot of, people will make a lot of television viewership figures, attendance at tracks, things like that. And I know it can be fruitless and sort of meaningless conversation at times, but overall you want to see that the sport is healthy. A manufacturer willing to come in at a time where, truthfully, I don't know whether the motorsports in general is as popular as it was, or at least as motorsport as popular as it was 30 years ago is obviously not. But to see a manufacturer who is interested in coming in, I, of course, welcome and support that. It is interesting that they don't have a team ready to roll who wants to switch over to them. I think, though, for the Truck Series, where the payouts are super small, I think it's probably the easiest way to do because, like Carl was mentioning, it's a spec motor. It's just a shell. It probably would not take a whole lot of lift from the Stellantis group to, 1, put in an entry, and then 2, get teams on board in terms of financial compensation for running that. So I think the obvious pick would be a Thor Sport who's run everything under the sun. I think there are obviously teams that are a bit too locked in. So like Aspire, I think they're too aligned with Chevrolet to really move away. But I think there may be a few teams that would move over just because from the financial aspect, it's just easier to do in the Truck Series as opposed to the Cup Series. Although a team like Legacy, I could see if they wanted to moving back to that, especially if Richard Petty's still involved. Yeah, I could definitely see them going to a Dodge or Price. Well, he still shows up and he still does YouTube hits with Jimmy. So there's some, at least in some way, shape, or form, he at least gets credentialed passes under the Legacy whatever tag.
It's a low bar. We got credential passes.
I know,
Yeah,
but I'm just saying.
So we on the same level as Richard Petty? That's what you're saying? That's crazy compliment, Peyton. I appreciate
bold take from Peyton. Appreciate that.
Appreciate that.
I mean, we have stronger competition than he. Oh my God! Did I really just slight the king over that? I'm sorry.
Gotcha.
Anywho, the final thing on that is one. Goodness gracious, the commercial that they did to announce that they are coming back to the Truck Series. If there's one thing that Dodge knows well, it is what their imagined customer is. And I put in the group chat that the customer that Dodge thinks they have is the man who sleeps under an American flag blanket, only puts down his beer to take communion and hurl it at a protester. That's the sort of true blue-blooded American
keep
Dodge
going,
appeals to.
Keep going. Keep name some more.
That's it. Well, I know you own one, so I don't want to be mean.
No, I mean you got the first two right. I would say does 80 and a 35, and then tailgates any Civic in the left lane.
Thank you for that, by the way. Yes, they usually do to me.
And ask, and when they get pulled over, we ask the cop, "You in what army?" Or you couldn't make it in the Marines, huh? Those are the ideal, who they going after, and I'm proud to be one.
So,
oh man,
but I want to hear Art's take.
I don't know how I'm supposed to follow that up. I mean, I like the concept of the idea, but yeah, it felt very almost rushed. Like, I know this wasn't rushed, right? This is a long time coming when you make a move like this, but it felt very unorganized. No team, no driver, a rumor that a YouTuber is going to be your flagship driver as you return to a racing series is not the greatest rollout that I've ever seen. But I like the idea of it. I'd love to see them eventually make their way back to Cup. It's been 15 years. How many years have we been told that fourth manufacturer is coming back, and they keep pulling the football out from under us? And so maybe it finally comes true, right? Like, I don't know. I just think that would be very interesting to see. I think the bigger question I really liked that you guys brought up was what happens with RFK, and I kind of like the idea of them moving to Dodge, because if you think about it, they're never going to be the number one Ford
ever
team. That's never, ever, ever going to happen. It's like, anyone trying to be the number one Chevy team in NASCAR in terms of resources. Like, the sun will explode and the universe will cool off and we'll all come to an end before that ever happens. It's just not going to happen. So it's a case of, do you want to be the second best Ford team or the number one Dodge team? And I think depending on what they got, you could make a really compelling argument that that's a better move and a better place to be, and tier one resources and all those things. So I'd be interested in that. That interests me way more than the Truck Series news. The Truck Series is a bit of a mess for a while. That and the ARCA Series. So I mean, it's cool, but come back to me when you've got at least a team and something that you can hang your hat on other than a truck doing donuts on a platform. Like, that was cool, but I don't know. It was all right, I guess, as Bonte would say.
Speaking of, man, we should have brought him in here.
Wow. So one quick thing, y'all talking about Roush, and I just briefly said no. The reason why I do not believe Roush would move away from Ford is they have a genuine deep ties with Ford as an OEM, you can walk into any Ford dealership and they will have they have Roush pickups, they have Roush Mustang kits ready to go.
So
Roush charges.
Supercharge
on it.
Yeah, I don't see them leaving that for Dodge.
Right, and just like I said with the Roush Yates Motor Program, right? Like that would be a big part of it. But I mean, what's stopping Brad from separating the two entities, right? Because
I could see that.
RFK is owned by essentially 4 people, right? If he could get at least one other person on board, they could say, well, look, RFK is just becoming, K Automotive, which is what the old team used to be named. And then Roush can either remain a Cup team, I doubt it, or they can just remain a manufacturer for Ford parts and all that stuff. I could see that. The potential's there, yeah. I guess, yeah.
Yeah, no, I could see that, but like the ties between Roush and this and Ford is probably tighter than any racing team in NASCAR in terms of a manufacturer alliance, because Penske, obviously their alliance with Ford is just in NASCAR. They run Chevys and IndyCar. Wood Brothers, yeah, I would say that's the only other one, but there's no Wood Brothers edition Mustang. So
there should be.
What? So because it only runs well once every other year?
Oh man, that's so funny. Oh my god. Oh man. No, I just
get his ass.
I just like the aura of the 21. Just the colors, but with the history, whatever. So
would Penske go back?
I could see that. I could see
I could see that, but I wouldn't want him to. I already hate Joey Logano enough as it is, and I don't really want to see him in a Dodge. I feel like that would be really conflicting for me.
I don't think so.
You look at Joey Logano, and you're like, "There's a guy that owns the Ford Fusion right there." Yeah, they don't make the Ford Fusion anymore, but I'm just saying, you look at him, you're like, "Yeah, that guy owns an Expedition."
The real question is how we're
catching strays.
How are y'all going to handle it when Honda comes in?
Well, I used to own a Fusion.
I'm so tired of NASCAR holding the damn Honda carrot. If Honda was going to join,
they would have done it.
Fucking join.
They would have done it.
I'm tired of them saying like, "Oh, there's a 5th OEM coming or a 4th OEM coming." Oh my goodness, they're not coming. I'm tired of hearing about it.
Honda joining has just been Steve Phelps like, well, what if we gave you $50 million to join? And Honda be like, okay, yeah. And then
I have more confidence in Genesis joining as the next manufacturer than Honda, just because Genesis actually makes 8-cylinder motors.
And then Jim Francis is like, actually, I lied. Steve Phelps is like, I didn't.
If they make a G90 Cup car, sign me the fuck up. I'm in that bitch.
Actually, that would rock. I would.
Honda's not coming.
I would say something, but it'll be xenophobic. So
that's for the best. Why don't you hush?
Don't do it. Thank you.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not. I wouldn't. Actually.
Well, now's not the place to workshop it.
I'm not even gonna say. I was just being funny.
We're gonna get back on track. So thank you for your input, gentlemen. Talking back about the truck series after we talked about everything that happened before the race. There was a race. There was a wreck. Your favorite podcast host botched the restart, caused a 52-car pileup, which led Stuart Friesen to winning the truck race on Saturday afternoon. Thoughts, feelings, opinions on the race, Art?
Well, the 1 week I don't watch it, you come to me first. That's
you weren't muted.
You. Huh?
You weren't muted.
Oh, well, see, that's what you get for being engaged. This was an interesting race. I feel like this was another case of me wondering how Corey Haim is going to get robbed or get victory snatched from him at the last minute. They had a really good truck for a lot of it. I feel bad for Raj. This shows you how the racing gods are cruel and how you go from the penthouse to the outhouse, right? You win last week and you're second to last this week. That's a brutal follow-up. But yeah, I thought it was interesting to see once Corey got shuffled out late in the race. There were a lot of I don't want to say unknowns because like Enfinger's not, but like Friesen hasn't won a lot. LaJoy was up there. And I really thought for a minute Corey LaJoy was going to win. For a split second, I really thought Corey was going to win. And I just couldn't imagine like how we would handle that series of events. Like I don't know how we would process that as a collective, as a group.
I'll skip the show. I wouldn't even record that bullshit. Take the week off.
The whole show. But yeah, no, I would like that Stewart won. He seems to be a very, very popular win. Much like Raj's. He seems to be that good old cut from the right cloth, did it the right way, scratched and clawed and turned wrenches to get to where he's got. So I like that, but I'll be honest, most of this race was pretty unremarkable for me. I didn't really. I mean, once Raj was out, I was like, okay, well, my engagement has fallen off the cliff. But a decent ending, green, white, checkered, right, which I know NASCAR loves to get. So it was fine. It was average for me.
Peyton.
So, going to sound like a broken record. We need to save Corey Heim from this muck. I was sitting there watching that race. Now, first off, the TV block for that race, I always like to go through and set my DVR for all the weekend's racing action. So I don't miss a moment unless I need to miss a moment. So I believe the broadcast window was 2.5 hours. So I tack on an extra 30 minutes, or maybe it was a 3-hour broadcast. I tack on an extra 30 minutes. Should be more than enough for a truck series race. And it's going beautifully. The first two stages, the moves that Corey Heim was putting on to make these passes happen against Carson Hocevar was fantastic. In the first stage, he goes through to win it because he had been trailing. He's racing smart, Corey Heim. He is just trailing and right up against Hocevar. They push each other far ahead, and then they go to work on each other. Corey Heim dips down to the inside, washes up to essentially take away Hocevar's clean air to win stage one. So you're like, beautiful. But now he can't use that trick because Hocevar's going to be ready for that. What's he going to do this time? So then the roles are reversed, where you've got Corey Heim leading to win the final stage. And, oh, no, well, Hocevar's obviously going to figure out how to do that. No. Corey Heim's got a new strategy down the backstretch. He starts swerving around to break up that draft. He had not implemented that before. The man is thinking at a higher level. He's doing the tricks and techniques of a man who is far above his competition. So I'm just remarking, just jotting down notes for today's show, just thinking, wow, what a great job of next level thinking that he's putting on. And then the truck series happens in stage 3. Just an absolute trash fest. You get Raj getting up, get caught up in a random accident. You've just got restart accidents. You've got red flags. You've got a busted wall that they're having to weld back together. It just turned into the ultimate trash truck race. So much so that I didn't even manage in my 3.5 hour time block allowed. My DVR ran out of space because there were so many restarts. And then I turn on my phone to realize that Friesen's won. Come on, what a miserable way to end Saturday. So once again, I'm pleading for refugee status for Corey Heim. Get him out of there, get him to safe passage, and get him away from these bumps. That's my analysis.
Carl.
Grand opening, grand close.
No, yeah, hey, I got it. I can spot. That's okay. I had to finally unmute Bill because I'm on the mobile. Yeah, I mean, so I did go back. I watched highlights. I got caught up. Yeah, I mean, look, it was a truck race. I would want to say I'm surprised. I'm not. A lot of people were, I guess, trying to say that Corey Heim. People they were somehow equating Corey Heim's mistake in that wreck that stacked the field up to Cletus McFarland. I don't really understand the comparison, but hey, that's whatever. Bum for Raj, that was like the first thing I saw when I saw the results post race. I was like, damn it, man. But Yeah, I mean, happy for Stuart Friesen. Like Art said, I mean, that's a popular win. I mean, the guy I looked it up the other day. I think he has like 4 career wins total. But I mean, it's a relatively, it's not a small operation, but I mean, it is, he is the co-owner of that and all that deal. And I mean, like I said, just an all around good guy, man, and happy to see that for him. So that was cool. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the only real takeaway I have from the truck race is you know, um, Corey LaJoy. Just to quote Monte. Um, I don't know what I would have done if he won. I don't, because I mean, you have this guy who, first of all, can I just say what a weird comment for him to be like going back to Spire is like. I don't remember the quote exactly, but it was something that Ken was him saying it was like you built a house for 5 years and your TikTok girlfriend got famous and kicked you out, meaning that he was saying that Spire felt like they were too good for him, which is true. You look at Hocevar, and then he came back in and it was like you're living with your girlfriend's boyfriend. I don't know. It was a weird thing to say. Say you're happy to be there. You don't have to take it from me. Sometimes you can just turn the bits off, man. You don't always have to be like cranking them out or whatever the case may be. Combined with that, the unfunny bit and the AI, like fans, thank God. I know Arthur hates me now. Jesus Christ. Because everything that I do that annoys him. But when I do it, it's funny. But because my thing about I don't know. I was on the show last week, and I guess he'd already announced he was coming back. We all did the show last week, if I remember correctly, because I did listen to last week's episode, and I wish I had because my comments on it are this: I love the fact Corey LaJoy is back in the Truck Series. I grew up in the Truck Series was full of guys that they went to Cup. It didn't work out necessarily. They were able to go to trucks and get with teams, and they were able to be successful in damn good races, damn close racing, fantastic action on a Friday, Saturday night. Loved it. And we've lost that. As the kids say, we're losing recipes. And so I was super excited to see that happen again. Maybe this is the start of the new trend, and we'll start to see guys like that haven't had great Cup careers, like maybe Ryan Preece or, Alex Bowman or something. Kidding. Go back down to trucks. But, so I was excited at first. And then for him to say that, like, dude, Spire has every Hendrick driver at their disposal. They could have had anybody come and sit in that '07 car. And they asked you to come back and help them figure out what was going on. And then the whole weekend, you're cracking jokes like you're freaking Chucky McChuckleface or whatever. I can't think of a good thing to call you. It has some civility, man. It really pissed me off. Anyway, so Corey LaJoy's small ounce of goodwill he had with me is now gone back out of the window from whence it came. But yeah, the truck race was the truck race. Happy for Stuart Friesen, bum for Raj, and one day somebody will rescue Corey Heim out of the Truck Series. But when the day will come, I don't know. Hopefully before I retire. So we'll see.
The problem is that Corey just has this audacity to it. He's got one thing. It's the audacity to really walk around like he's God's gift to a racing series. I don't know where you get off for a man who has, as I will repeat again, as many wins in the last 7 years as the 4 of us combined. I just don't understand where you get off talking like you matter. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to sound like a dick, but like, brother, you should be here hat in hand saying thank you for letting me have a fire suit I can put on, because if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for Amazon, we wouldn't see you on our TV at all before this.
And the other thing is too, as I was thinking about it, think about who came out of keying in with him, who came out of truck. I mean, like Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Daniel Suarez, Bubba Wallace. One thing they all have in common that he doesn't. I have a number besides 0 in the W column, and their whole career wise, he's like the only one. The only one. And so it's like for you to just like not take a second and just show a little humility and start to like build the rebrand and like try to like make a comeback, because I get the thought that maybe you thought that the Rick Ware thing was going to work out better than it did, and it didn't. I don't know, but dude, come on, dude, act like you've been there before. You know what I mean? Act like you did when you were writing that letter to Rick Hendrick begging him for the 48. Come on, man. I just anyway.
Did you just compare Corey LaJoy to Elliott Sadler?
I thought it said Chase Elliott. That's my bad.
I think he said Chase Elliott.
No, he was
meant
saying
Chase
like
Elliott.
how we were losing receipts and Cup drivers who can't make it in Cup, they go down to the lower series and have a career. And the one
Oh
person that comes
yeah,
to mind for me is Elliott Sadler.
Elliott Sadler did a great job at it, and I wouldn't call any of those guys that did that their career progressed like that. I would never call them a flunky because a lot of times the situation's out of their control, right? Like,
Except for Matt DiBenedetto.
Except for Matt DiBenedetto, which they haven't even mentioned him this year. He's in a full-time ride.
There's a reason.
So, yeah, everybody was like, dude, just give Matt a chance. Well, he thought he was too good for a truck ride. He thought he was too good for the 12 Xfinity car, which is how he got to where he's at now. Allegedly, I brought that up in conversation once, and somebody was like, Parker didn't say that. Well, okay, whatever. But yeah, there's nothing besides Matt DiBenedetto and apparently Corey LaJoy now. There's nothing wrong with guys going back down and winning in lower series and giving these rookies somebody to actually race against, man. Peyton and I had this conversation a couple weeks ago that there are no real, gritty, identifiable personalities in the lower series because there's nothing to judge them against. There's not an Elliott Sadler or a Johnny Benson Jr. or a Jack Sprague or a Ron Hornaday to judge these guys against. And so we need that.
Bars. So after that, we all went to sleep. We woke up to the first daytime prime broadcast. More greatness, more votes, more pleading. I need Amazon for 36 races, man. I can't.
36 races.
I can't say it enough, bro. They just when you think they can't keep up and they gotta fall by the wayside once. They don't skip a damn beat. The call for the race win was fantastic, and Denny Hamlin says Yahoo 2 times and wins in, I wouldn't say dramatic fashion, but he had a pretty damn interesting way to win the race. Yesterday in Michigan. Thoughts, feelings, opinions on the Cup race. Oh man, Carl, you go, and then I'm gonna do something different.
All right, okay. I'll try to keep it short. So, I'm sorry the air fryer is going off in the background, but
Ooh, what you making? Chicken?
I marinated some pork chops and some jerk seasoning. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But it's my dinner and bedtime. I'm staying up for this. But no, I thought it was a fantastic race, start to finish. I think it is one of the all-time classics. As far as the next gen goes, because I know Art was getting ready. I saw him unmute and everything. Art unmuted his mic and everything. He was like, you are not about to say that. You are not about to call this car a classic all-timer, man. Anyway, I thought it was one of the best races this car has put on thus far, next to the 22-600. A lot of different things happening. Guys were on the ragged edge with air pressure, which I know that's unfortunate that the teams are having to do that. But from a spectator standpoint, that's what's so hard about this podcast, right? Is because we talk about things from a real standpoint, it sucks. But from a spectator standpoint, I loved it. It was fantastic. And so it's hard to find that balance, right? The production quality, once again, the commentary, just fantastic. There were moments in the race, this weekend I was in the truck. I didn't go home. And so I had the phone was on Prime, much easier than having to find a bootleg stream. And I was listening to the race. I had it set down. I was doing other stuff. And even not watching, the commentary and the production value was so great, I could really keep up with what was going on without even seeing. The play-by-play, all that was fantastic. So I'm really going to miss Prime here in a couple of weeks when we get TNT because we're not getting Charles Barkley. So it's what's the point? The only thing that really nothing really stood out for me in the Cup race as far as talking about it specifically. It was just a good old-fashioned Michigan race. It came down to fuel mileage. Love that. Heart broken for Carson Hocevar. I mean, this guy's getting so close, so many weeks, and it's like they flipped a switch with that guy. You know what I mean? Like, it was like building up to it. It was like, maybe this is the week and he might break into the top 10. And the last couple weeks has been like, well, he actually probably is going to win this race now. I actually think he's probably going to win Pocono. I'm being entirely honest with you. I feel like that's where this is headed. But, yeah, I mean, just all in all, I would say it's like an 8 out of 10. It would have been a 10 out of 10 if the 23 won. From my opinion. But yeah, I mean, that was cool with Denny, and it was really surprising to see Denny get so many cheers and stuff. That was actually really nice. I was cool with that, and happy for Ty Gibbs to get a top 5. I know that they've had the struggles for sure. I get that, and I know that it's hard and emotional for him, but it was a nice takeaway and all that stuff. Certainly hope Alex Bowman's okay. That was a hard hit. I know he said that was one of the hardest he ever took, and it felt pretty bad, and I hope there's no lasting effects behind that. But besides that, man, I mean, it was just a really good Michigan race. I have no complaints.
All right. So Peyton, do you want to share your take before your segment, or do you want to do your segment and then share your take?
Man, it goes hand in hand. So
perfect. We're going to start a new segment this week, ladies and gentlemen. It's called "Did Art Enjoy the Race?" Peyton, take it away.
This is bullying.
No, it's funny. It's not bullying. There's a big difference. So, man, I want to say yes, but here's the potential issues. And so I've really sat there and it's like, man, I'm having a lot of fun. This is a lot of fun. I'm enjoying my life. And I'm like, okay, how would someone who finds this miserable, where would they find the misery in this? And so 2 thoughts. One, practice we didn't get enough practice time. So we weren't really getting a good sense of 10-lap average pace. So it's a bit mixed up. So that really meant that, okay, why are we even practicing? So that's thought 1. Not enough practice time to really help us get a good picture. 2, it was still really kind of tough to pass, and it seemed like in dirty air it could kind of be messy. And then 3, the only other detriment, I'm just going to always use this as a back pocket stand-up. The numbers are shifted forward, and on my preferred diecast, the numbers are in the center of the door panel. So deduct 3 points from that. But I'm going to say that Art did enjoy the race. He's going to say that he liked how there was strategy. He thought there was good passing and that he had some fun. But he said there's just a few things missing. There's a few tweaks. But this is the happiest he has been probably since Homestead.
Arthur, your rebuttal.
This is bullying. That's my rebuttal. That's what I said.
You know what we didn't hear? You know what we didn't hear is, Peyton, you're wrong.
Can I speak? Hang on before you get up on your high horse.
Yeah, this is your time. Yes.
Thank you. I was gonna say, I honestly feel like this is one of the first races in a long time where I really felt the magic of the mid 2000s watching this race. Like I really, really enjoyed all of this race. Honestly, I don't have anything to criticize for it. There's something about this car and its package here, and I don't know if we saw this as much at Kansas. Y'all keep me honest, but it just seemed like you would get cars where they'd be side by side, and they get draggy, and then the third car comes along, but they were just getting some absolutely massive runs. That third car coming, and I just felt like this race in particular, like it didn't feel like it was too hard to pass. I felt like you could manipulate guys. You could try to get them loose. I think Denny's pass for the lead. He got in under Byron.
Yeah.
Right. Under Byron. Byron got loose and he went by him. Like he didn't door him. He didn't run him into the wall or do anything dirty. Like that's just clean, smart, racing. I really enjoyed, like this will probably be one of 5-6 races that I would go back to when the season's over. Like, yeah, I'd love to watch this race again. Like I genuinely enjoyed all of this race. The strategy was great. There was a lot of, I think Jarrett mentioned it was exciting ending. I think the right word for the ending would be tension, right? I think you're kind of holding your breath that last 20 laps or so. It's kind of like there's a ticking bomb somewhere and you just don't know where it's going to go off. And, I was selfishly hoping that everyone in front of Bubba would run out of gas and he would cruise by them coming out of 4 and win. But even with that not happening, I just enjoyed all of this race. There was a lot of different cars in the hunt throughout. Like Blaney was good early, Chase was good early, and then they were gone. Denny was good throughout, Larson was good throughout. Tyler came back, Bubba came back. I just feel like this was a great race. Honestly, I don't know how anyone could have huge criticisms for this race. It wasn't a gimmicky, we have to go to a green, white, checkered because there's a crumb of rubber in the corner. We've got debris, put it out. Like there was nothing cheap about this race. And yeah, like Amazon definitely helps it. Like they definitely, like I said, I think on a 10-point scale, they're a +2 every time. I really like the burn bar where they talked about the fuel mileage. I thought that was really great. I don't remember
Question
that in the past. Yeah.
On Kyle Larson's car, my wife was pointing this out. Did they have the graphic wrong for Kyle Larson? Because on the burn bar, they showed the MPG, which would like hover between 3.5 to like 5.8. But they also had like a bar that was green. And for some reason on Kyle Larson's in that last run, if you go back and check, his was like really low. And I don't know if it was just a glitch because like he didn't have to stop. So did anyone else notice that, or was it just my wife who noticed it?
I think the way that they show it is the less green on the bar, the less gas you were burning, because they said that the average fuel consumption on the gas mileage was like between 3.4 and 5.2 or something is like the average gas mileage for a Cup car. And then at one point in time, I remember Larson's car saying that it was like 5.8, and his burn bar wasn't high. So to me, that he wasn't burning as much fuel. Because to your point, he didn't have to stop. But it was just, I caught that too. I just was like, huh.
Yeah, my wife was like, why didn't you just stop now? Because he's like, if the green level indicator that's a lot higher than everyone else's indicates how much fuel he's got left, he should just stop now because he's just wasting his time. So. But sorry to interrupt you, Arthur. Please, it does my heart good to hear you happy, buddy.
I mean, listen. I call it like how I see it, and like I say all the time, like I'm fair on the show. But yeah, this was a great race. I saw a few people kind of poo-pooing it on Twitter. Very few, right? It was overwhelmingly positive. But I saw a few people poo-pooing it. I was like, buddy, I think you're just being a curmudgeon at this point. Like you just want to be unhappy because this was a really good race. Like I said, there's nothing cheap about it. There was a deserving winner, right? Like every race is a winner, but they don't all necessarily have a deserving winner. And I mean, there were lots of moments where I was, on those restarts, or they were 3 wide, 4 wide, 5 wide, where I'm sitting up holding my breath. They had a few guys lose their shit and wreck out, and had really bad accidents. I mean, like I said, this felt like, TNT in like the summer of, 2004. Like this, for me, this felt just like in that sweet spot of, watching a race in the afternoon. Like I just needed the buzz of the AC window unit in my parents' kitchen running to put me to sleep afterwards. Like that was the only thing I was missing. But yeah, I thought this was a great race. I'm okay with Denny winning. It's fine. I'm not anti-Denny or anything. I like Denny, but, I'll talk more about the finish, I guess, in Lights Too Bright. But yeah, I love this race, so I'm happy with it. I'm glad with the product they put out. I'm sad that we only get 2 more weeks of Prime. So yeah, no, I'm very sad. So this was, I mean, maybe it's a 10. Honestly, I think it might be a 10 out of 10. Like I don't have any. If you can't complain about anything, it's got to be a 10 out of 10 by default. I feel like so. Yeah, no, that's my take on it this week. So. Those are my honest opinions. So fuck you and your segment. You're wrong, and now it's retired forever. Thank you. Goodbye.
Now who's bullying who? I didn't swear at you. I was just trying to get into the mind of an Arthur.
Listen, just because you have a cleaner vocabulary than me doesn't mean you aren't any less of a degenerate than me.
I don't feel like this is the proper channel for you to express those remarks. So we're gonna keep it pushing. I mean, I agree. This race is fantastic. I'm sorry. This NASCAR
so
cooked. The only thing that makes me is like, you bastards, is we could have had this twice a year if they would have not sold Auto Club for Amazon warehouses.
Well, I've got a couple other thoughts on it real quick, but I'll be brief. One,
sure.
I think this place deserves a second date, so I think they should take Richmond's date and give this to Michigan.
I will have you assassinated.
And then also, I was thinking, because Art mentioned comparing this to Kansas, the way that these cars raced was really, really impressive. And it felt like compared to Kansas ended up being sort of a top lane dominant track by the time midway through the run. It seemed like here Bubba could still make speed. That seems like the main place he could make speed was really just being a bottom feeder. And it seems like they could work the middle, they could work the high lane. And I sort of wonder if it's just the higher minimum speed in the corners that you achieve here at Michigan, where they're barely cracking below 180, maybe 185.
They barely cracked the throttle. Like, they didn't get completely out of the gas, which was fantastic.
Exactly. And so with that, you actually get the benefit of the draft down the backstretch where you manage to get those big runs. And that's something that's nothing new. So once again, to Art's point, it did have that 90s, 2000s feel, but it did make me wonder, why was this race different from Kansas? And I think with Kansas and it being a top feeding track and the minimum speed being relatively lower, that dirty air just crushes you, versus here you've got more lanes and you're not going as slow. So yeah, that draft is super effective. But yeah, that race is an instant classic. And we're going to have a chance to talk about Bubba's race, hopefully, later on.
You better get it
we can touch on it. But I just think, just to expand on that, that thought you just had, Peyton, with this, I feel like with the Gen 7 car, it's such a momentum car. Like, you have to have the momentum to keep your runs, or to take your runs, or create a run. And I think that's why this race was so great, is just because you got to see the car sort of do its intended function, with a place that wide and with, the banking the way that it is. Like, you saw cars be able to pass. Like, Tyler made up 20 spots within the first 15 laps or so, because there's plenty of room. Like, you don't have to worry about the wake or dirty air or anything like that. You can just go where somebody else's is, get the air on the nose, and just yeehaw, I'm going forward. So yeah, we're gonna. I feel like I'm gonna put a pin on this, and then we give our report cards in the fall. I'm taking the track away, so Michigan can have 2 dates again. I just have to figure out who's gonna lose their spot, and it won't be Richmond.
He really passing Richmond out every week.
Yeah, but Peyton got a vendetta, and I'm about to fix it.
I support it. Good on you, Peyton. Keep it up.
The truck series can go there. The Xfinity series, you all can still enjoy your racing, but I mean, listen.
We already had to give up 1 date to hopefully not a shit show this upcoming race weekend. So
y'all are on the clock. Y'all need it.
But if old boy turns out to be wrong about this Mexico idea.
I was trying to say, they literally outsourced your race to international. Like, y'all
international.
Lost,
you
lost jobs.
You got the race teams putting up bear bond on the hauler, covering up logos to make it safely through the border. For what?
It's better than being in Virginia, I guess.
Well, let's not give in to a certain spotter's agenda. The bear bond is the cover up because Mexico has.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I don't even want to start that because it's coming.
Can we start it?
No, I don't want to.
This is what I talk about, you being a degenerate. Like, you're proving my point. Thank you.
I think all the time about the made up story about a woman being robbed at gunpoint at the first Chicago race, and.
We don't have to do this. We don't have to turn down this road.
Let him
No, I was just saying. I'm excited for the sequel of that, from that individual that made that lie up, who was mad about it. the whole time, and he was so mad about it that actually, you know what? I need him to be mad about it because him sulking all weekend led to an amazing finish and an amazing win, and I need that to happen again for this race. So actually, by all say whatever you want to say, man. I don't care anyway.
Peyton brought up Bubba's performance. We can touch on it really fast. Qualified 12th, ended up finishing 4th. The pit crew things and gave him an opportunity to win. I wish that Ross Chastain didn't have his tractor in the way and block Bubba for 15 laps. Otherwise, he probably could have gave Denny a little run for his money with how fast they had gotten the car. Words I hate hearing over Bubba's radio is that he wants the car tighter because that gives me PTSD. But they made the adjustments that the car needed the last stop, had enough fuel to make a go at it, and just ran out of laps. So another top 10 for Bubs. He's gaining the points back. He finished in front of Chase, which is what needs to happen to sort of cut the gap to Chase as far as the playoff picture goes. I know, Peyton, that you had made a marker that you wanted to bring up in regards to Bubba's playoff performance so far. So expand on that.
2 notes. One, I'm going to be a huge hypocrite because last week I said, boys, do not do this to yourself, which is at that Nashville race, went down a lap early, and we were all saying, like, oh, man, imagine if he hadn't gone down a lap early. This entire race, I was just sitting there thinking, imagine if we got better restarts or if we were restarting 5th instead of 10th. I will go to my grave thinking that he had a car that could have won that race. It seemed fast enough. That being said, maybe it's different when you're racing for 2nd or 3rd, but the way he was able to move through the field throughout numerous stages was extremely impressive. I think it's the best car he's had since Homestead. I did hear from another podcast that they were adding a bit more fuel each time, so that was not necessarily helping his track position on those restarts. So if they were willing to short fill him, put less fuel in, then they could have probably gained or held more spots on each of those pit stops, but they would have been in a tighter position at the tail end. So there was a method to their madness. Just wish some of those restart breaks would have gone his way. Now, regarding the point situation, it just shows how much damage you can do in 3 really rotten weeks, because going into Nashville, so that's off the back of 3 30th place finishes, and I believe in hardly any of them he had any stage points. Someone correct me if he had stage points in any of them, but going into Nashville, he was 38 points above the cut line. You look at the points from this race, and he scored, I believe it was 40 points is the points that Bubba scored in the Michigan race. So that's essentially what you can make up if you finish dead last and someone else in the field scores 40 points. That can easily be erased. After Nashville, he was able to go up to 54 points compared to the cut line. He is currently at 61 points. And as you mentioned, you also posted a very nice graphic. He is trailing behind Tyler Reddick, who is at 138 points above the cut line, as well as 142 behind Chase Elliott. Something that is interesting, you compare him to Tyler Reddick, their stats in terms of top 5s and top 10s are the same between Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick. The big issue is Bubba Wallace is on 5 DNFs this year. So it is a credit to have 5 DNFs, not have won a race, and have just 3 top 5s, which is strong, and still be this healthy to the cut line. Never before in his career has he ever been at this position this late in the season. So just a credit to how they are approaching these weekends and collecting stage points. It's a huge, huge asset because they are just free points and say, hey, these are insurance policy that you get to keep. Even if you have a bad day, if you can collect stage points, you at least take that with you, take the sting out. So love the approach they're taking. Glad they will get the ship righted. And I think they can have potentially a respectable day out in Mexico. I think they can at least, there are ways they do. Art, you mentioned in one of the group chats, there are things they can do to collect free points as available. So I think hopefully they can utilize that. Even if they don't get a great finish in Mexico, they could still make a good weekend out of it.
Yeah, what I had said was, you always get the folks that will split the end of the stages, right? Where they pit and try to cycle back to the lead at the start of the next stage, or they stay out and get the points. If I'm the 23 team, we are going to go for every stage point we can, and then I don't care if we're 34th at the start of stage 3. There's going to be some calamity. There's going to be some mess. Some people are going to get dumped. We're going to get spun out. But just let stage 3 be in God's hands at that point, and we'll take the guaranteed deposits from earlier in the race. That's exactly what I would do. Bubba, I mean, I have no idea about this track, right? Like, I don't think many of us do. I know it's been a long time since NASCAR's raced here. It's a different car, yada yada. But I mean, it's not out of line to think that he could easily come back and get a top 20 finish with that strategy, right? Like, yeah, like I stayed out and I start, again, like 34th or 30th and the stage. It's not crazy to think that he could gain 10, 12 spots over the course of an entire stage. So, yeah, I think, now, of course, with these road courses, like, yes, these are the weakest link in Bubba's chain, but as we've talked about here before, he's gotten much stronger at it in the last couple of years, and I'm just excited to see how he does, right? Like, he had some pretty good performances last year, so I'm just excited to see how he does. Yeah, man, I don't think the sky is falling at all just because we're going to a road course anymore.
Anything you want to add?
Yeah. God damn, navigating in and out of this thing is a pain in the ass. Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me. It's hard for me to a win. I said before, a win fixes everything, right? And I know that they've been close, and I know that it's there. And sometimes it's just hard for me mentally to grasp the concept of if this keeps happening, like a win's going to come. Like they're doing everything right. You know what I mean? Like they're running like guys like Chris Buescher and guys like Ross Chastain and guys that are good for a win or two a year. But I think yesterday was in Nashville was a perfect testament to. You remember years ago, like there was like this whole media campaign about the new and improved Kyle Busch, right? And I felt in this way going into the year. With Bubba, it was like that. It's like, mentally he's in a different place, X, Y, and Z, and being the father has changed him. But I really believe that because, I mean, they got behind, this week and last week. And, instead of shout out Charles Danique and for making the calls and things like that. But they got behind and he buried it. And he said, look, we're just going to keep digging and getting away at it, chipping away at it. And they've converted, like I said, they had a rotten month of May. They've converted. They're having a great opening to the summer. I am confident next week that they can easily convert that to a top 15 with some stage points. I don't think that's out of the question. Yeah, I thought it was a great performance. And I thought that he was doing what he needed to do. I think throughout the day they were kind of writing him off a little bit, but there was a couple restarts where he was really getting after it and putting himself in some really dicey positions. There was one restart where I think him and Chastain about wiped each other out, and at first I was really pissed off because I was like, why would you put yourself in that position? It was Ryan Preece. Okay.
No, there was one with Ross too.
There was one with Ross too. Yeah.
There was the one he's talking about. Yeah, with Ross, that was messy.
And I was like, oh my, because even like Letard said it, and I was like, why would you fucking do that, dude? But then I thought that's the kind of move Denny Hamlin would make. That's the kind of move Kyle Larson would make. And you know what I mean? Like that's the difference. That's why guys like Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson and William Byron and Joey Logano, have race wins, because like in time when the going gets tough, the tough get going, So I think all of the indicators are there. I'm looking at the schedule. I don't really know where the best chance for to win at because Here's the thing. Here's what's so funny is, in a way, you can say he's good everywhere, but you can also say that he's not because we've had rotten luck in a lot of places. So, I think Pocono I'm excited for. I've got Atlanta circled and some other races. I think Iowa might be one that they can convert at pretty good. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I thought, like I said, as long as we can keep this trend of just not selling, not giving away the race in the first stage, figuring out how to get back to it, collecting as many points as they can, like I said, and staying to the good of the cut line, I can't complain. I just really would like a win. That's all I need, and I will shut up forever. So.
Yeah, I know the speed's there. If anything, this weekend it shows that the speed is there. They're capable of passing on the track and not using pitch strategy to get, spots to move up the running order. I feel like since we've stopped calling his finishes, he's finished better. So we're going to continue that trend. I'm also the same mindset. I don't feel like, road courses is a weak point for Bubba. I'd like, if I can get another Chicago without the malfeasance or get another Coda, I'd walk away, happy and satisfied. I'm interested to see, mainly so there's some rain in the forecast currently for Mexico City. So, we'll see how that plays out. As long as there's no lightning, get your ass in the car. But you never really know on road courses, and you never really know, of course, if there's a water hazard on a road course, how the finish will end up. I'm excited. I feel like that a win's coming. If we can't get a win, I'm on the mindset, finish top 10 in the stage points, get a top 10 finish in the end of the race. As long as the gap continues to build to the bubble, then if you win, you just win because you won. You don't win to get in the playoffs. I mean, obviously, that's the result of winning is you automatically get automatic bid. But I feel like if you're running top 10, if you're running top 5, if you have the speed to be in contention, which he was yesterday, then you don't know what happens. Like if Ross Chastain doesn't drive like a fucking idiot, then Bubba probably could have got up there because he had a fast enough car. He could have got, like I said, he could have got up there and gave Denny Hamlin his money, but we'll never know. But hopefully they don't lose the recipes, and they keep bringing some hot rods to the track for the 23. It's time for lights to bright. Art.
Man, you can make me go first tonight.
Yes, because I know you're the only one that has one. I don't know if Peyton or Carl have one. I know you have one.
I have two. I've got a personal one and a professional one. My personal lights too bright goes to me because like an hour before the cup race, I had a next gen door. It's like a fucking 5 foot long door fall on my head. Let me tell you. I'll keep it brief. But so
Three
it was sitting on
ass injury.
Huh?
I said the Three Stooges ass injury.
Okay, get out of here. Anyway, so it was sitting on I had these plastic tubs or whatever. It was resting up against it. I was went to pick something up off the ground, and my face is parallel with it, side by side, and I just see it as I'm sitting up. I have both my hands are full, and I just see it tipping from my right side. I'm just like, I can't. My hands are full. I'm just gonna have to eat this, and just boom. And I honestly thought I had a concussion for 3 hours. I still have a knot. I have a knot.
Damn, you got a knot on your head
today. Today, 35 hours later. I legit thought I didn't see stars or anything, but I legit thought I gave myself a concussion. So I gave myself a lights too bright for that. My professional lights too bright. Whoever didn't fill up the 24, that one's they're fine. They got to win, whatever. But that's a pretty brutal one to lose when you're ahead late like that. But the one that was worse, F3. The one that's worse than that to me is whoever in Gibbs told the 54 to not push. Ty had some strong words on the radio. It wasn't like ugly, but some strong words on the radio after the race saying how we gave it away. And they said Gabehart came on and I heard the audio. He kind of fussed him out and basically was like, "We had a good day. We finished third. Our guy won." And if I'm Ty Gibbs, I'm like, "Yo, I don't give a fuck about Denny Hamlin winning, dog."
Talk about this shit.
Like, I don't give a shit about none of that. Like, he already got 2 wins, and I need a win desperately. Like, finishing third doesn't do shit for me, brother. Like, I don't give a fuck about that. Anyway, I would be that's one of those moments where I wish, like, as the driver, and maybe if he was older, he would do this, but I wish he'd just override and be like, nah, fuck that. I'm going for it. Like, I'm just going for it. If I run out of gas, like, I don't give a shit. Like, oh, what? I'm further back in the points. I'm already, I'm no threat to point into anything. So I like Ty, and like, again, I don't hate Denny winning, but like I said, Denny got 2 wins. Like, I don't give a shit about that. He's not my guy. Like, I'm the 54, not the 11 team. So there's a trio of lights too bright for you this week.
I'm Joe Gates' grandson. God damn it!
I mean, yeah, like, come on, dude. Like, my name's
name
checks. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, your name's on the door, dude. You know what I mean? And also, like, moreover, I mean, you're what is he, 27th in points?
No, I'm not looking.
He back there.
He's back.
He way back there.
He's back there, and it's just like, at this point, dude, we have to go for whatever. We got to go for broke, because being Ty Gibbs ain't gonna keep the bills paid for very long. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, I hated it for him, and like I said, I want them to have that breakthrough. I mean, it just goes to show how hard this series is. I mean, it makes me feel better on days where Bubba runs good to see a guy. That's not fair to say. It just shows how hard these things are to drive. That a guy that we all crown prematurely as like the next big thing, like, is like 29th in points. You know what I mean? Like, it just so. Anyway, of course, then again, Carson Hocevar is thriving with very little Xfinity experience. So I don't know, dude. I have no clue.
Man, my light's too bright. Goes to Carson Hocevar's crew chief. Like, you sold with the air pressure adjustment, my brother. Like, that car was fast as shit. He probably could have won yesterday. Like, as much as I don't want him to win just yet, I know he's fast enough to do it. Peyton would have been thrilled. But I was like, damn, you just blew it on the air pressure? That's crazy. That's nasty work. Carson has had, I think it's been like 7 or 8 races this year where he's just had shit luck and finishes in the back. And it's no fault of his own. I'm like, damn, he got to get a break sometime. It's not even his fault. He ran out of gas. The tire blew. He had like a loose wheel penalty or something crazy. Like, he's had bad luck the last 30 laps of a race. He can't close, and it's not his fault. It's the crew's.
But you can make the argument, though, that the reason why he was in first place was because the air pressure was so low.
That's one of the beauties of this car, and you have to be kind of ridiculous with some of the things that you do to make it fast. Like, similar things happened at Kansas. It was the same thing where they changed the air pressures in the rear to make them all like wonky. Because with this stupid car, you have to have the ass on the ground and the nose in the air for it to make downforce. If they would just change how the car makes downforce and put it all on the top of the car, then you wouldn't have to do all that dumb shit. But you're sort of like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Like, if he doesn't make the air pressure adjustment, to your point, Art, would he be up there? I don't think he might have been. He had a fast car. I didn't think you have to go for broke. I didn't think that they thought that last run was going to go as long as it did. Maybe they made the adjustment thinking they were going to get a caution in between and the tires can sort of settle out and then go back to building up. But yeah, man, Carson's crew chief gets my light just too bright. Peyton.
So mine is a collective. It's the whole damn truck series, and pardon my language. I don't like to use harsh language like that, but
look at you.
But really, I mean, okay, first off, they're putting you on at 8 a.m. on a Saturday. That's what they think of you. Like, that's what they think of you, truck series drivers. that, hey, we're going to put these people on the breakfast shift. And then we're not even going to air your practice. We've got 3 Foxes. We can't be bothered putting on anyone. We can't even bother to put you on the stream. And so they get out there and they show, hey, there's some talent. First 2 stages, we showed that there's some real talent out there. Corey Heim, Carson Hocevar, showing America, the 15 of them who are watching according to Corey LaJoy, that, hey, there's true talent in this series. And then you all say, actually, no. We're a bunch of morons. We're just going to start crashing each other non-stop and just smashing into each other. If you're a Dodge executive and you're sitting there thinking that you've got a big presentation to give tomorrow, that you're going to be entering into this, oh my gosh, you got to be wondering, man, how are we going to grow this from 20 million fans to 100 million when they can't even get through a race without destroying half the field? So, yeah, all of you all, lights too bright, demote all of them to ARCA and just start over. Like, it's ridiculous.
100 million is a lot of people.
I was with you till you said demote them all to ARCA. Who can race the trucks? ARCA? That don't seem smart.
Bring the Cars Tour people up.
Put all the Coke Series drivers in the Truck Series. Send the Truck Series drivers down to the ARCA.
Yeah. And send the ARCA people to
third shift
Mexico.
at our Arconic Metals in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yeah,
because they need the damn help. 6 damn hours to load 1 damn beam. Can't slap black ass and sons of bitches. So they need all the help they can get. And I'm telling you, ain't nobody more suited for a real job than people than the people in the ARCA pretending they're race car drivers. Anyway.
Do you have a lights too bright, Carl, outside of the plant you just mentioned?
That you doxed.
What are they gonna do? Nothing. They know that they slow. They don't care. They know it. They love it. They play in my face all the time. Hey man, glad you showed up. We just got back from lunch. Go ahead and check in. We'll load you when we get back from lunch again. Yeah. Anyway, do I have the lights too bright? Not really. I mean, I guess my lights too bright is just for, I guess, the schedule. Whoever scheduled the schedule, whoever decided that they were gonna send the backup haulers to Mexico yesterday instead of sending them like maybe last week. I just feel like that's a huge logistics effort. Shout out to the truck drivers, because that is a tall, daunting task to have to be down in Laredo. I think they had to be in Laredo this morning.
Yeah, today. Monday.
Yeah, today from Detroit. I mean, they didn't leave from Detroit until, sometime after the Cup race started. I mean, granted, Xfinity already left. They left a couple days ago. So it was just the Cup teams that had to do it. But I still feel like they could have just shipped those cars when they were in Nashville and they were a little bit closer to the border. I don't know. I mean, that's my only light too bright.
Who's the bird brain that made the schedule that didn't think to maybe swap these 2 dates, make Michigan and then Nashville, and then they could just go from Nashville down? Or I just feel like
they got to go to Pocono. So they got to go from Mexico straight to Pocono.
Yeah. Like, it's
crazy.
Just at no date. Like, why not have a week off maybe before or after Mexico? Just, for consideration.
Yeah, so summer break would have been nice. Yeah.
I just feel like this could have been done a lot easier.
No, it definitely could have been. They're trying to get it for all that it's worth. So, definitely not an easy task on their part. So that's about it, like I said. But those guys aren't governed by the hours of service rules like I am. So I'm sure that they just ran it straight through.
And they'll be running team drivers, obviously.
I would assume so. Yeah. So
they usually do.
Yeah. So for the uninitiated, if you've never watched a West Coast broadcast and I talk about it, a lot of those haulers went down with 2 guys in the truck, and I would say it's probably. Hell, I don't know, maybe 16 or 18 hours from Detroit to the border. So they probably did like an 8 and 8 swap or something like that. And that way they could get down there without a driver fatigue issue, because there's no legal, you legally, if you're driving a truck and it's not for hire, you can drive it all around and never have to stop. It doesn't matter. Nobody's going to say anything to you, but from a fatigue standpoint, there's just no way. So I'm sure they ran teams down there.
Question for you, and this is getting really inside baseball. How tough is it for those for the truck drivers, not the ones I just blasted, but the ones who drive real trucks, in terms of getting rested up in a moving vehicle like that? Are they going to be able to get fresh? I mean, are they going to feel fresh, or are they going to feel like, man, I've slept 8 hours in the sleeper cab of a truck?
I guess, are you talking about like the
rig drivers, the
hauler drivers?
Hauler drivers, yeah.
I'm sure they're probably used to it. I mean, it is certainly a feat. I have never done it, and I don't think I ever could do it, because I mean, trucks ride like shit. I mean, you feel and spoiler alert, not to get political, but we ain't got the best roads in the world. They had to, and if I'm not mistaken, they had to go down 65 through Indiana, which you might as well drive on the crater of the freaking surface of the freaking moon. So, I'm sure that they are used to it enough that they're able to get rested. I mean, as somebody told me once, I said, I don't think I could ever team because I couldn't sleep while the truck's moving. And it's like, well, it's the only time you're ever going to get to sleep, so you better get used to it. So I'm sure those guys are used to it, and they're fresh, and they're good to go. So. It's a huge logistical challenge for them. It's 2,200 miles. They have to go from Michigan to the circuit, Rodrigo Hernando, whatever the name of the track is, in Mexico. That's 2/3 of my work week right there. So, and I did that in one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well. Anything for open mic?
iRacing is releasing the 03 cars tomorrow. So
when are you gonna do an iRacing stream? Let's talk about that, Carl. When are you and Peyton gonna get on stream?
Yeah.
Well, I was getting there. I was getting there because I tweeted it out on the pod account and nobody responded to it. Hopefully I get in early enough Friday that I'm willing to splurge, and we'll do a little bit of hosted. I'll pay for a server for a couple hours, and we'll go have some fun.
Oh, I got you on that. I got some extra money.
Yeah. Because it's a server's like what? It's like $5 for 2 hours.
No, it's like 50 cents for like.
That's what I thought. It's outrageously cheap. Yeah. So hopefully I get in early enough Friday. Maybe it's raining Saturday. I have to take the kids swimming, but if it's raining, we can't go swimming apparently. And if so, like I said, we'll do some hosting. So keep an eye out on Twitter. Whenever that goes up, I'll post it, or whenever I'm planning to. And that way we can all have some fun with the cars of most of our childhood. Some of our listeners are younger. They don't remember cars that didn't have wings on them. So,
Hey, can you also real quickly tell the people how you had promised me an iRacing rig, but then once you figured out how good I was, you started ducking me? Can you tell that story too?
That never happened. That never one time happened. I still have that desktop. I just mailing it is such a perplexing thing, and then also you move a lot. So
hey, remember when you were like 5 hours away from me in DC?
Yeah, but I didn't have it with me. Mm-hmm. I'm not carrying around a fucking computer all the time, like in case I run into Art.
Just find it pretty convenient. You came all the way to the East Coast, and
anyway, Jared. Also, I have to announce we have a new sponsor that I got for us that you guys don't know about.
Oh God.
All right.
Our whole reaction just took me out of the moment. I can't even do it anymore. No, I can't. I was gonna make a rich energy joke. I finished that book today, fantastic book, and I was gonna make a joke about it, but I can't anymore. Art ruined the moment. So
Good. All right, we all come out ahead. That's win-win-win.
yeah.
I've got a quick open mic.
Oh God.
It's not. No. This is a very special weekend coming up, fellas. This is the 24-hour Le Mans. And this is one of no. Hear me out. This is like one of 3 endurance races that are worth watching. And Jamal, if you've made it this far,
I was going to ask: does Jamal have the gun in your back?
He's got to have the gun on your temple right now.
Because like your camera is off, so I just don't know.
Hold on, no, like legitimately.
Blink twice if you're safe.
I am safe. This is legitimately something that harkens back to my childhood. Like watching this on Speed Vision, watching those old French Orca Viper. No, yeah, the Vipers. Yeah, the Orca Vipers in like '96. I just remember watching those, and then the C5 Corvettes when they brought them out. Buddy, I was hooked. So it's the fun of every summer. You sort of know that summer's truly here when they're out there racing Le Mans, and I'm going to dive in, pretend I know what's happened the entire season, and then be frustrated when Corvette don't win.
Is it on network television?
I don't know. I'll figure it out on Friday.
No, it's probably on a mix of it. It's always weird. I enjoy the 24 hours of Le Mans.
Yeah,
I don't enjoy being told I don't know wheel because I can't tell somebody the air pressure I think they're in the right front on the 2025 Toyota DPI or whatever at Sebring during the testing. And I can't tell them who the test driver was for for Cadillac in 2022 when they were testing in Spa.
You weren't watching what was it, the Japanese minivan series or something?
Oh yeah.
You didn't watch the semi truck 300?
To watch it. Yeah.
You all are going to get a shot when we go to Chicago, which, if you listen to some podcasts, is easy.
You didn't know Volvo had a race team with their big trucks, huh?
Who is we? I ain't never going to Chicago.
Well, I might want to, but now my whole invitation to the city might be rescinded.
Listen, you don't have. Listen, you're not going to need to check in, okay? Don't worry, it's not like that.
All of a sudden, I found my hotel's I'm like, wait, my hotel's an O block. What's an O block?
What if the majority of gun violence in Chicago was tied to not knowing about GT racing, not knowing about sports cars? And somebody just walked up and they was like, "Who won 2019 12 Hours of Sebring?" And you're like, "What?" And just like, pow, 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 pow. somebody speaking ill on the whatever that fucking Porsche with the teeth is or whatever. Next thing you know, like somebody's outside in the shite, just like laying a switch down on you. They take WEC seriously in the streets of Chicago, man. Don't get caught on 46th Street wearing a Cadillac shirt, buddy. It's over for you. They're gonna bury you. Oh my god. Oh man.
So anyway, that comes on this Saturday. Tune in.
It's not on network TV. I'm not watching it. This just proves that it's too hard.
You watch NASCAR on Prime.
It's too hard to watch motorsports that turn left and right. If you want me to
I've been saying this.
Put it on ESPN like F1 does, or put it somewhere where I can take it easily.
Or, put it on Prime. Because
I was going to say, put it on Prime.
Put it on Peacock. Put it on
YouTube.
Speaking of Prime, though, the documentary for the Garage 56 car from a couple years ago comes out Thursday. I'm so looking forward to that. I missed the boat on getting the diecast for it, but I'm excited.
If you're ever down at the Daytona Experience, they have the diecast inside the gift shop by the racetrack.
Bet that up. Anyway,
it's expensive, but they have it.
Oh yeah, it was expensive when I went for pre-order, and I was
$142.
Yeah, it's insane. And I was like, man, nah, I get it when they release, and and it was still $150. And I was like, nah, I do something else. I'll go to Atlantic City with this money. So
all on black, baby, you never lose.
There you go.
All right, y'all. Well, this has been another episode of Victory Lane Vibes. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell your mammy, tell your Grammy. If this is your first time listening, welcome. If you're a repeat offender, welcome. And we will have news if Kyle Busch makes it out of Mexico next week. See y'all later. I'm gonna play my own music because I'm in charge.
You ain't getting no intro.